I wanted to try something cool today with Civitate's Orbis Terrarium. This book, Cities of the World, from the i500s. I believe it's 1572 to 1617, where George Braun just drew these amazing artworks and incredible Starfort cities, which have just revolutionized. They're one of the first known really Starfort collections and with the engravings that I've really come across, and they're absolutely amazing artworks. Everything is absolutely incredible, and the ones that I found were actually in black and white, and I just recently, as I was about to do this video, came across this colored version. So this is part one, and maybe part two will have to be in color, but I wanted to see if you all liked this kind of method of a video first, so I wanted to give it a shot with Alexandria to Frankfurt. So I want to show, just going to kind of talk about random thoughts and theories that pop up from showing the maps of the cities and then looking at the Google Earth and kind of comparing the maps. And sometimes it's tough to find the maps, like this one, Alexandria. This is a city I feel like I'm going to dive into in the future because there's so much mystery there. Just what the downfall of it, everything about it. I feel like something has been recorded that we haven't been taught, and it's time to dig into Alexandria. But I couldn't find exactly where this Starfort matched this one, so that's not really a good match. The other dissolves will be a little better, but Alexandria, either way, wow, what a place. So much. Like maybe some of these places can't be replicated from these Starforts because the coast has changed due to whatever, or something else, but this is a really cool spot. I wonder how ancient this is. It kind of has like a little bit of a grid, the ancient grid, and I guarantee there's so much more in there. I don't know much about the scuba in Alexandria, but they should be doing a ton of research all over the Mediterranean to be scuba diving everywhere and finding tons of stuff. There must be absolute treasures all over the bottom of this place. In Alexandria, right where the Nile and Mediterranean meet, on your way down to one of the biggest cities in Cairo, which you'll see. And now here we go to Antwerp, which is really incredible. The Starfort in the corner, the water above, the water all around, the protective mass. So are we to believe that these were done in the, pretty close to the i500s, or just has this civilization been going for so long? Is the whole world beyond the poles as well populated with Starforts? One thing I've always wondered, but this city, wow, look at it now. And they all fill in, they've all filled in so much, there's no like land around them anymore. But these are the buildings that I found that you can find on the Starfort map that are still existing today, and the statues. And look at these statues. These statues are not just meaningless things with gods from books or myths. There's so much more. It's absolutely ridiculous. And here we go to Brussels. Look at this thing. It's just like an egg, a protected shell, a center. And just how, does it go deep? Are these things deep? I really want to see someone dig into the bottom of a Starfort to find the base of the wall, because a lot of these walls are still around today. So much of it has been destroyed, obviously, but the connection to the water and some of the outskirts are always remaining. And this one is also a little tough to match, but just wow. And look at the way this place has changed. This world has gone in this amount of time, this 600 years, and has just exploded with populations. But is it, again, what we are seeing during these Starforts? Are these the just gradual progression of time, or are these remnants of something else that was here and then we are the people that took over it? This part I found really cool, which is Budapest. Very amazing artwork. And just in general, what an incredible place it looks like. And all of them, they're just so, they incorporate, the way that they worked with rivers was not just like, oh, they were built next to a river. They were like fully harmonious with the rivers. And maybe that's why we don't ever find any toilets, is because they were so connected to waters. They just had, probably just public spots where you could go in, I wonder. Or maybe they had just systems where it could work. This is a really nice picture, must be from the 60s or 70s, but wow, look at it. And just gradually they've been dismantling these masterpieces. It's absolutely sick. This is, I believe, Cadiz, Spain, which even in this drawing does not seem to show some of the churches that I'll show in the pictures, but it does seem to have that wall, or a little bit of that wall. So it's kind of interesting to try and see what exists during these times, what was, maybe even taken out strategically. Who knows where this guy got these maps? And a lot of these elevations, I left those at the bottom, like 12,000 feet on this one. And this one's definitely higher than that artwork was. That artwork was pretty much ground level. But a lot of these starforts are up to, like when you compare them with the measurements of the Google Earth, they're like in the 30, 40,000 feet. So how are they getting up that high? It's more than just a balloon, I think. And who was the predecessor who mapped out these maps? For this one guy to go around and map and look at the blocks, dear God. So much lost, so much ruined. But for that one guy to go around and do this, it would have taken an entire lifetime to accurately sketch all of these. You need some kind of source material. And look at that. Wow, that is like right in this area. And how old is that? It looks spectacularly old and like it's still not in its true form, unfortunately. And here is Cairo, and what was going on here? If this was the Starfort, I wonder if those ruins were active at this time. Doesn't seem like it because there's not a drawing of those places. So really, like when, but during these times still, they must have been seeing remnants of those buildings. And I know they have the Egypt, the pyramids, and they have the Sphinx. A lot of pictures I've been seeing lately of the Sphinxes with the nose. So, and a lot of people have talked about the destruction of the noses as well, which is very interesting. Just must be a sign of an insult or something when you take over a place. And but Cairo itself, just an absolute land of mystery. They're constantly digging up new things that are just everywhere here, and it more and more appears that just things were allowed, certain places were allowed to stay, and other places were just covered with dirt and dust, left for the people who would ever dig, if anyone would ever do it. But in time, stuff grows on it, people completely forget. But at one point, there was a dumping, there was a covering of not this city, but of so many different things everywhere else. And this is Sestria, also known as Chester in England. And this place I found very cool as well. There's a lot of cool things come from Chester as well. I've been seeing it pop up lately with different artists that I'm coming across. But again, England, one of those places where there's just a massive amounts of ancient buildings all over the place. Ancient stone structures like Stonehenge that they convince are like, oh, look at this Stonehenge pile of rocks. Meanwhile, these churches and things that are masterful and prove that we inherited this world from someone far greater than us. Just don't look at those. Those are just whatever, some things that people built at one point. But look at this, these statues, the meaning behind this stuff. These gardens, these walls, this time of castles matches so perfectly with this Starfort art from these books, especially the color ones, which I'll show next time. But this as well, and these are all found in the cities. In every Starfort, there's at least one of these. So I really lean towards the power scenario. In this one, I doubt that inscribing is right. That seems like someone totally different from a totally different era, maybe of giants. Most likely of giants. Cologne, Germany. This is a very, again, beautiful artwork. Look at the engraving, so perfect. Every street is perfect. It exactly matches Google Earth. There is like never a mistake. And these things were just built this way. So the engineers, the architects might have even been able to go up and see these things. And I always wonder if they had a balloon, then you have like a tracing form of table, a light, and then you just trace it. Or something. I mean, if there's other ways to survey it from the ground, but I don't know if there is to make something that accurate. In this one, just the perfect circle, the circles, they enclosed so much. Definitely protective against something, I can see it for war, but I can also see it for so many different reasons. Possibly to protect against a flood. Like if they knew this was coming, what would a civilization do? It would make machines, it would make buildings that were capable of surviving a flood and maybe capable of clearing the water if it happens. Like maybe that's what these have to do with, or something. Doing something. Filtering maybe, I don't know. Sound, ether, everything. This is Delft, and I would love to visit this place. This place looks really cool, and they made a really massive drawing of that building in the middle, which I will show you. But the perfect, like almost like a square, definitely remnant of, not a perfect square, but of Tartar City and different places like that were also built like this. All over the world, similar constructions of places, similar styles, as if there was like a construction company that was building all these at one point in time. But look at these buildings. Those are so weathered, so old. And this is the thing also. All of these buildings were built to last. That is absolutely spectacular. I'm not sure if the art is exactly how it began in that place. Again, you can always paint over stuff, but the art is beautiful, which as reflective of the artwork like these engravings at that time. But again, they built stuff to last. They built things here that are going to stand the time forever. They're going to stand up against any storm, most explosions, wars, all these different things. And nowadays, everything we're building is just made to turn to dust, made to be exploded. And we find all these rocks. So I'm beginning to wonder, if you blow up rocks and mix a lot of things, what happens? And this is a place called Escorial in Spain. Amazing artwork, again, architecture phenomenal. I have no idea what this place is. I would like to dive a little deeper in here, but it was around during this time, and it must have been built way earlier, unbelievably earlier. And the science, the physics, the technology, the materials, the everything had to have been learned centuries earlier for them to make stuff like this all over the place. And again, how many of them have been destroyed? How many rocks do you see? How many piles of rocks do you see that were once things like this? When you blow stuff like this up, you melt it, you turn it into all kinds of things, you blast it with high heat, it just turns into all different things. Like we see on the beach, rocks of all different colors, things of all different colors all over the place. All of these things tumbling around, smoothing out, losing their history as time goes on, but still somehow retaining the magic. I really do feel that the noosphere exists, and there's a way to tap into it. And I've seen this place before, this image, but look at that, how big? That is built not for humans like us. That is built for something we can't even fathom, unfortunately. And now back to Germany for Frankfurt. There were so many cities in Germany that were built in this way. The whole of Europe is just like this, and I still always find it hard to believe that America wasn't like this either. The roads, the rivers, South America, the same thing. The roads, the rivers, the paths, all different civilizations, so many different things, metal, giant structures, pyramids, all over the place. This world was connected, and they must have had the ability to fly. They absolutely must have. I'm surprised we haven't found more art depicting flying machines, but it has got to be out there, most likely in private collections. There's probably values for all these different things that we can't even fathom. This is 1940s Frankfurt, which I found very interesting too. Very well built up. The build-up has just been insane, from these Starfort engravings all the way to what it is now, and it's remarkable. But still feels like we are only barely utilizing the space of Earth. So it's just the innate feelings of something grand being here at one point is just inescapable. The more we know about our world and the way it is now, it's just the more we can't trust anyone or anything we've been taught, anything our parents have been taught, anything anyone's been taught, anything in any book. It's really sick that we are in a time like this. This is an ancient Jewish cemetery apparently as well in this area of Delft. It's like, what? Look at the Starfort remains. They turn into a park. No one really thinks twice about how old it might be, who walked there once, how big they were, what species it was. And this is the last one. I had to do this one, Toledo. This was the first one I tested. Although I went through A through F to Frankfurt, and I will do another part with the rest of the alphabet, or some more of the alphabet of the cities I like. But Toledo, I found this like a really cool place. Look at this. Wow. And the buildings in the corner, the churches, those buildings at the bottom. Take a look at some of those now. They look nuts. This place is Spain. Spain itself, the landscape there is amazing. And when you go to Europe, I remember when I toured Europe and when I went on vacation there, every country had its own feel. And it wasn't just a cultural thing. It was a land thing. It was a weather thing. It was an energy thing. It was a structure and architecture feeling. You just get so many vibes of ancient magic and wonder that you can't help it. It just stirs something innate in us all. And people talk about reincarnation, and I wonder if we can trigger stuff. We can trigger memories through some kind of, some kind of method of meditation that can, or entheogen, that can help us figure this stuff out, because we know it. It's in our DNA. It's trapped within us, and we need to explore the thoughts that these images bring in us subconsciously and consciously, because something is there, something we are missing, some little piece of this puzzle that will help explain everything. And I hope we can find it beyond the private collections somewhere. Someone has to know something. We have been targeted in such a way that they have just, the whole point of everyone we still face today is to destroy the magic and the beauty of our realm and our existence. These people that have tons of money and supposed power have just have targeted all of us, the innocent people and animals and life forms of this world, and it's insane. It doesn't make any sense. It's almost as if it's an alien takeover of some sort, because when you see how beautiful this world was, when you get the feelings from these places and visiting these places, it is an indescribable feeling. And the world itself and life itself is such an unfathomable miracle that for these people to want to do the evil things that they do to all of us innocent people who are just trying to live and be happy is something beyond human power. It's something nasty in this world, and we have to eradicate it because it's just sickening. And this beautiful stuff that we see everywhere, this is the real feeling. This is the real life. This is the real world. This is the world we deserve. This beauty, these absolute miracles, the power of nature, utilizing it in ways that benefit humanity, living to our full potential, not being embedded with cancer when we're a couple months after we're born because these sick people need to make money. So much has to change in every aspect of life. We have to rediscover and republish the miracles of the world and make people feel it. We need to make people feel that they are worthy of so much more. They try so many things to make us hate our nature, to make us regret our nature, to make us convinced that we are imperfect and that we need help from science in order to live. And none of that is accurate. We don't. We were born perfect. We don't need to change anything of that perfection. We just need to embrace it, discover it, and completely ignore and eradicate all the filth that's polluting that miracle. And I believe we can. So, bless you all. Truth feeds us. It heals us. It frees our soul. Let's keep finding it. Dig in the comments below. Dig into this book. Let me know what you all think. And bless you all forever.